today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees.
Shalom.
My life on the line, I'm begging, please. Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength.
Come on in.
Place my feet, Lord, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand. For a new heaven, a new earth, show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please, to Zion. Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I feel the Spirit calling me, drawing me back home. Oh, it's something with my family. I know it won't be long. One day you're gonna look for me, and I'll be gone home. Yeah, Israel is calling us back home.
Israel's calling us.
To Zion. I'm on my knees. I lay down my life. I'm begging, please. Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please. Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me the way to Zion. Yeah.
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Of course, as you all know, I'm Elder Ricard Shah of the Gathering of Christ Church. I hope you all are doing fine. Hope you are blessed, healthy. All praises be to the Most High, the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God who sent his dear son, Yeshua, whom the world called Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for our sins. Shalom. Of course, you all know, I know this is a surprise to a lot of you that I'm on a day in advance. But I had to ride my bike today, so I rode my bike for a little bit and went around for a little bit just to get some exercise in. And in the midst of me out there where the trees were and all that, it hit me. Something hit me to a degree in which it was a spirit that gave me some level of direction into where this is all going with this COVID thing. And I had to share it. I couldn't wait until tomorrow. So I'll just share what the Most High showed me in the spirit Some of you might know this already, but I thought I would share it today since it came to me today. You know, I don't want to lose the steam of that spirit while I was out there on the bike riding around. I went up the hill and I came back down and went around some of the some of the rural areas where the trees were and all that. And some serious clarity came to me, and I thought I would share that with you all today. Shalom. Okay. And I have a video to show. So please make sure you all hit the like button so that, you know, as many people as can come in can be driven into this real quick, because I'm not going to be long. Okay. And I'm serious this time, right? Right. So it's about 797 people. That's enough. It's 800, but I only see 341 likes. So please, if you haven't already, just hit that like button. Okay. This way it'll drive some traffic so that others can hear what I'm sharing today, if you don't mind. Get that like button up. There's 800, almost 900 people in. Hit the like button so it can drive the traffic. Okay. If you don't mind, I would appreciate it. Okay. Hit that like button. Yeah. So something came to me and I thought I would share it with you today. And the question is out there. Who is actually attacking us under COVID-19? Who's doing it? Okay. There's so many opinions out there. There's the mainstream opinion, because just because it's mainstream doesn't make it fact. We understand that media is usually government driven, but I'm sure some components of what they're saying could be true, but that's their opinion. The actual understanding of what's happening really outside of media is what we experience in our personal lives outside of what's media driven. And never forget that fact, okay, that media was created to control a population. Okay, media was controlled. It was made for that. That's why it's called programs or programming. So keep that in mind. So I'm not going to say everything they're saying isn't correct, but a lot of what they're saying is their opinion. Our opinion is actually shaped by actually what we go through, what we see, what we experience. Our perceptions are shaped by those very same things, right? What we actually experience in our neighborhood. So something is going on right now. And it's as if, I know growing up, folks, in the cafeteria, I remember some of the antics growing up, in which we had a game we would play, right? You know, it wasn't a nice game, but some of us have gone through this where we would slap someone, right? You know, who wasn't looking, and they would turn around and you don't know who did it, but you know, everyone is a part of it. Everyone in the background is a part of these antics and slapping someone and then hiding your hands, right? But then the person would turn around and would have no idea who slapped him. So therefore, you can't retaliate because you don't know exactly who's doing it. They're messing with you, right? I remember that game growing up. And I can't help but know that same game is being played on everyone. COVID-19 is like a skeleton key that can be utilized to slap everyone around. Doesn't matter your color, right? It's a skeleton key. It's a Trojan horse. It can be used for anything. If there's people that you feel that you need it out of the way, COVID-19 is a sure way to get them out of your way. If there's an employee that you couldn't fire otherwise due to human resources and the union or whatever the case is, COVID-19 can fix that for you. If you wanted to downsize and bolster your bottom line or your profits because there's too many employees, but you just can't let people go, COVID can do it for you. If there's a certain people in the earth that's a problem prophetically for you, well, you know what? I can use COVID and COVID can take care of that problem. You understand? So it's a skeleton key. Okay. Not to say that a cold don't exist. We always exhibit colds. It doesn't mean that, that doesn't mean that people aren't sneezing right now. It's allergy season. Okay. So I thought that I would take this time today, leading into our broadcast tomorrow, to show you who's hitting us and hiding their hand. Okay. Who is attacking us under COVID-19 and hiding their hands? Okay. Because we really don't know who to pray against or who to stand against without understanding the culprit. It's too vast of a scenario to put our finger on. It's too big. So we must go straight to the source. Some people say follow the money. And that's one way of figuring out a component of this. It's one way. But this thing is deeper than money. The people that are behind this doesn't need money. They have enough money. They have enough money in which their great grandchildren would be well off and not need money. So the component that I'll go into tomorrow when I deal with this tomorrow is the real reason they're doing this. But today we're just going to go into showing their hand. Who's slapping people around? Okay. Now, to make a long story short, okay, because I'm getting right into it. I know y'all anticipating this, and you're saying, Elder, give us what's been shown to you. It's coming. Don't worry about it. Keep in mind, folks, at the end of this, right, take all of the middle fluff out of the way with COVID-19. At the end of this, the objective is to vaccinate the population, chip the population. Okay. But first, they must disarm the population. That's it. Right? Those are their real objectives. But still, you don't know whose hand is behind this. You find that out today. Understand what their objectives are. Okay? Their objectives are to actually do what? Disarm the population. Because now there's no resistance if they can get all people disarmed. That's why you've seen the media pushing this mass shooting thing all over the earth for almost since Barack Obama's administration. All the way up until now. Okay. So there's a reason why all of these particular Sandy Hooks and all that stuff was pushed in the news to implement certain laws that would lead to this time we're living in now. Okay. Disarmament, therefore less resistance. Now you're disarmed, they can enforce their will on you. Right? Vaccinations, these are not just vaccinations. The CIA even broke it down in a secret meeting that we have the video that I will show tomorrow, folks, in which this nerd was sitting there saying that we need to fix people by cutting off the God gene. We can target their spirit, which is in their minds, with a vaccine, a flu vaccine. Okay? It'll take away their passions, their desires. Okay? Their propensity to trust, to fight, to love, to have love, to protect, because all these are innate scenarios that come with believing in God. I'm gonna show that tomorrow. So it's more this vaccine than you think. What if we can give the whole earth autism? Huh? They've been testing on the children for the longest. Suppose we can do this to adults, the whole world, and just make them walking vegetables, slaves to the powers that be, with no resistance. Who is attacking us under the cloud of COVID-19? Of course, I'll give the answer, but I need y'all to hear this real quick.
Hey, everyone. Great goodness. It is 8:42 New York time, and I got to my regular unit, and they took my patient away, my black guy. And now I'm getting switched units. This is exactly what happened before at the other hospital.
Let me turn it up so you can all hear it. This woman was looking out for a black patient and was upset, crying that they were actually treating this patient with the wrong treatments, and the guy was dying right in front of her. A black man in the IUC ward. In the ICU ward, okay? Intensive care unit. Listen, I'm gonna put it on here so you can hear it better, okay? Yeah, it's better now.
Told somebody, like management, and tried to advocate for my patient. They take the patient away from me, and then they move me. So I legitimately don't even know what to do anymore. I'm
gonna go back so you can hear it.
My black guy unit, and they took my patient away, my black guy. And now I'm getting switched units. This is exactly what happened before at the other hospital. As soon as I told somebody, and management, and tried to advocate for my patient, they take the patient away from me, and then they move me. So I legitimately don't even know what to do anymore. Even the advocacy groups don't give a shit about these people. Literally, Black lives don't matter here. And that's pretty sad that somebody who is white and lives hundreds of miles away from the city gives more of a shit about these people than the actual people in this city. For real. I had a complete breakdown.
Now, this is not me advocating for one race or the other right now, right? But I hear a lot of people out there claiming that the white man is the devil, right? This woman so happened to be white. She cares about what's going on, understanding that black people are being put down like dogs, and is willing to put her face out there on it, which could affect her livelihood. This can affect her family for the rest of her life. And this woman is white. But yet all the people that are claiming that the white man is the devil is sitting back, isn't saying anything or doing nothing about their own people getting killed in hospitals. Food for thought right there. Food for thought. A matter of fact, you would have the same people that claim the white man is the devil is now advocating for vaccinations on their people, on their congregation, for their congregation. Food for thought.
Because, I missed an important email to do a revision on my proposal. So my proposal got canceled because I was trying to advocate for my patient and talk to management here and get the care that he needs because he's being medically mismanaged. And I just had a complete fucking breakdown because you know what? My entire proposal got canceled because I, wasted my time advocating for a fucking patient who's just going to die anyway. And sure enough, they take the patient away from me. And then almost 2 hours into the shift, they switch me units. This is exactly what happened at the other hospital when I was advocating for the little Hispanic lady. Guys, here's the thing. Let me try and put things into context for you, okay? I know not everybody's gonna live. I'm not that fucking green or ignorant or,
excuse the language,
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to think that, okay? I know we're gonna have a shit ton of people die. But these people aren't dying from COVID. Let me give you several examples here. An anesthesiologist intubated the patients, I think it was right, bronchi and of a patient, and they couldn't get the SATs up. And for about 5 hours, we were waiting on a chest x-ray to confirm that the placement was wrong. And in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, we've told the anesthesiologist that it was placed wrong because literally only one side of his fucking chest is inflating. He dies. Okay. A patient.
So they put him on the so-called ventilator and rigged the ventilator to kill him. And then tell the population we have to do something, social distance. We have to social distance and put on masks because COVID is killing everyone. See? They killed the man. So they put you on ventilators, and usually because it's COVID-19, the family has no say at all. You can't, because why? Under COVID, under a pandemic, the family is not allowed to come in and check on their family member. You must trust the professionals. You must trust the hospitals and doctors that they're giving you the correct information, because if you go amongst your own family member that's being killed, then there's a threat that you may leave with COVID-19. So to protect you, only thing we need to know is now that under COVID-19 also, they don't have to give permission. They don't have to get consent to take your organs. Yeah, but everybody talking about, the white man devil, the white man devil. Why don't you go do something about our people that's being killed? Where's your videos like this? No, but you have Israelites out there on videos saying, take the vaccines. Under the pretense of something that's way deeper than a cold. This is way deeper than someone getting a cold or flu. Let me tell you, folks, if this is exactly what it was, an airborne disease that was killing everyone, Bill Gates and others wouldn't need a vaccine. They would just allow this disease, this airborne disease, to kill everyone, knowing that they're looking to get the population down to 500 million. If this was killing people like they said it was, then they would just let people go out and gather and get their numbers down. They would just let everyone die by gathering together.
Heart rate of 40, and the resident started doing chest compressions on him, which is not what you do. You just externally pace them, or you give him some atropine. And then, I run in there to stop him from doing chest compressions on somebody with a fucking pulse. And then he decides to push epi. He throws some pads on him to defibrillate the guy in bradycardia. Okay, he has a heart rate of 40 and a stable, bradycardic rhythm. We just need to give him some atropine and pace him. He fucking defibrillates him and kills him. And I was literally ran out of the patient's room to get like the director of nursing who was standing out there. And I'm like, can you stop him? He's going to kill that patient. He's going to kill that patient if he defibrillates him with bradycardia and a heart rate of 40. And the director of nursing just shook his head. And I turned around and he killed the dude.
On the left.
Okay. There was a nurse who placed an NG tube into some guy's lungs and filled his lungs with tube feeding. There was a nurse who confused a long-acting insulin with a short-acting insulin and gave 30 units of a fast-acting insulin and killed the guy. What else? Other stuff have I seen?
Look at it. All these people died under COVID, right?
It's just here they're just gonna let them rot on the vent. They're medically mismanaging these patients. And like, I'm not a doctor, guys. I'm not professing to be a doctor by any means. But there's, like I said, basic standards of care that we have to do. Like, when somebody's low on blood, like literally on the brink of a critical low blood level, we should replace the blood. But I asked the residents and they're like, does he have internal bleeding? And I said, no. Then they're like, well, then we're not replacing the blood. Well, here's the thing. In these COVID patients, they all eventually need a blood transfusion. Their blood, like, if you don't have enough blood to actually oxygenate your body, the vent settings don't fucking matter, okay? And they don't matter because you have no oxygen carrying capacity of your blood, okay? I told you about the patient where like all that like purulent drainage just kept seeping into his lungs because the ET tube cuff was leaking and nobody has a fucking manometer here to check the pressures. And I finally figured that out. And I kept saying, hey, you know what? His white blood cell count is steadily like, you know, we're having a problem with it. Like, do you want to start some antibiotics? No. Well, does he have a fever? And I said, no, he doesn't have a fever. They didn't want to start antibiotics. Day shift nurse finally got a chest x-ray. He has full-blown pneumonia now. Like,
Remember for a long while we would have our family members go into the hospitals and mysteriously come down with pneumonia? They go in with a leg break or go in with something else, and then they say, well, we have to keep them in longer because it seems they have pneumonia. See, this is a sure way of keeping people in the hospital if they have good insurance. See, when the hospitals and doctors become for-profit businesses, when their hospital become a for-profit business, they're in business to make money. So if they have someone that come in the hospital with a minor scenario but has good insurance, I can just charge the insurance up by just giving this person pneumonia. She's breaking down how exactly this is done. Now, ironically, you're not hearing about anyone dying from pneumonia all of a sudden. Huh? COVID-19? I think you get the gist of this, right? I was going to save this for tomorrow, but since we're on a roll, look at this video here, folks. Since we're on a roll, I need y'all to see this. This is April 13th, 2005, before there was any such scare as COVID. A meeting that was had in the Pentagon. Listen to this.
On the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics.
We have these who believe in God. Now, why are they having these meetings at the Pentagon? Listen to this.
On the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics. And this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the VMAT2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalist, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the VMAT2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach.
What you're suggesting here is by spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from donning on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior.
Hold up. By vaccinating them against this will eliminate that behavior. Now, what is they talking about? They was using this back in 2005 during their war on terror in the Middle East, saying if we can give them this vaccine, then if we continue to kill their families and all that, then no new jihadists will come up to avenge their family who's been killed by us.
This is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the VMAT2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very
That's not Bill
remarkable
Gates.
data in this next slide.
It's one of those Bill Gates
Here we have
like
two
characters.
brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of VMAT2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of VMAT2. Now,
Now you have other debunkers like Snope and all that trying to say that this was a hoax. It wasn't a hoax, folks. This isn't no hoax. It's called a God gene. It was actually in a magazine about 20 years ago. They was talking about the fact that they were studying the neurological senses in the brain that actually shows a belief in God. When someone like those who go to church like us is under the scanner, it's like real radiant. It's bright. It's red. An atheist or someone who don't care at all, you can barely see that light in them. It even speaks of this in the book of Enoch, even for those who don't believe it. But it says in the book of Enoch that in the earth, there's beacons of light in the earth for those who believe in the Most High. And the angels can see them from the light as they walk to and fro within the earth. It's that gene in their temple, in their mind, in their brain that stimulates their desire to connect with the Almighty. Guess what? Esau found the gene. It's called the VMAT2 gene.
here, who had low levels of the VMAT2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up.
Look what happens to the individual on the bottom who read a religious text. And look at the light in their temple, in their foreheads. At the bottom. So this is what they're looking to stomp out. That passion, that belief, that quest for knowledge, that quest towards the Almighty. If they can take away our propensity to believe, they can make all of us willing slaves to do whatever they would like to do with us. And that's the real plan.
Is the right middle frontal gyrus shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In contrast, in marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, and when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
So you're suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether I put a bullet in their head?
The data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this VMAT2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the middle.
So with the vaccine, they will turn a fanatic. Now, they're claiming, folks, a fanatic is one who believes in God. We can turn a fanatic into a normal person. Let's hear that again.
To turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed? Aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population. Most of us, of course, have been exposed to both of those viruses, and we're quite confident that this will be a very successful approach.
This is fascinating. What's the name of this proposal?
Yeah, so the name of this project is FunVax, which is the vaccine for religious fundamentalism.
And you have a proposal already?
The proposal has just been submitted, and I think that the data that I have shown you today would support the development of this project, and we think it has great promise.
And we think it have. You notice they said that they would produce this through a flu. Okay? Don't buy the left-right argument of Fauci and all that other stuff in Wuhan and China. Don't buy it, folks. Again, they're behind you. They're behind there slapping you and hiding their hands. And when you turn around, you don't have no idea what it is. They'll say it's a cold. They'll say it's airborne. Or they'll turn the population against each other by having everyone run around with masks, suspecting that anyone is the enemy outside of those who've created this hysteria. So that you don't even trust your own family. I mean, how diabolical is this? Through a media campaign, they can separate your family from you, kill your family, real time, without any pushback, without anyone standing up for their... If we don't have our own family to protect us. And mind you, this is happening, folks. This is happening without them under duress, without us being forced under gunpoint. What was just mentioned is happening. Where we can allow our own families to be separated in a hospital, and you're sitting there and you're in your mind thinking that, yeah, it's COVID-19. It's better off them being there than being around us with that disease. And you know why? Because Christ told us in Matthew 24 that the love of many would wax cold. We've been desensitized. There's no way in the world anyone in my family is going to be separated someplace and I sit there and let it happen. No way. Impossible. Impossible. It won't happen. And I told my family, like, listen, I'm going to protect you as far as I can protect you. But if you volunteer yourself up to be killed, there's nothing I can do. They're putting people down in these hospitals. And this is how they're buffeting their numbers. This is how they're inflating these numbers. It's a win-win for them. Okay? So it's not as if they have to do it, force someone under duress by gunpoint. We have our people volunteering themselves to be killed. Okay? Now, again, the mainstream media have their opinion, and we all have the right to ours. With what little freedom, quote unquote, we have left. Now, let's get right to it now. Who was attacking us under duress? See, I'm a Bible man. I believe in the Bible. I was driving around, getting my exercise in my bike today, and it all came to me. It's like, you know what, Ricard? Let the people know all together in the spirit, coming into our first fruits, which is this weekend, Saturday sundown, 7 Sabbaths from the Passover. It all started that week before the Passover. 7 Sabbaths is when the Holy Spirit came down, when we were in one spirit and one mind. Let everyone know who to pray against. Identify the man behind the curtain. Who's really behind this? It's deeper than the banks. The banks are only one component. It's deeper than the healthcare field. That's only one component. It's deeper than the political side of things, which are elected officials. They're only one component. But guess what? There's a greater component that fuses all of these components. The Vatican. The religious aspect. All of these are tentacles and arms of that same, with the same agenda against God's people. Just that we don't know, because they work from either side to the point to a degree where most people are confused. So we need to put a name to this evildoer. Who would kill the weak, the feeble, and the bot? Let me tell you, the Most High had it pop right into my mind out of nowhere. This happened before in the Bible. It happened. It happened when we were coming out of Egypt. Look at what it says there. Look at what it says there, folks. Deuteronomy 27, Deuteronomy 25 and 17 reads, remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt. 25 and 18. How he met thee by the way, and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. And he feared not God. When Paul says that man of sin shall be revealed, it's speaking of Amalek. Amalek is known for smiting and killing the weak, the poor, those. And I'm going to show you how cowardly in the spirit. And this is why the Most High said, remember Amalek. They don't face the men head to head. When we came out of Egypt, the men in the army was in the front leading the charge on our way into the land of Canaan, going towards the land of Canaan. Amalek didn't fight us head on. That's our brother. We're going to show you who he is, our big brother. He came around the back where the women and children and the elderly were and began to kill them in the back of the caravans. And that's why God said, remember him. He plucks off the weak first. He attacked the weak first. It's Amalek. Now, how do we now show forth who's Amalek today? See, and this is why the papacy sought to defame or to smear King James. Right? Now, let me finish reading this. Deuteronomy 25:17. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble, like the aged and the old, those that are weak, the children, the women, the elderly, were feeble behind thee when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. 19. Therefore shall it be when the Lord thy God have given thee rest from all thine enemies round about, in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. Never forget Amalek is what the Bible tells us. But unfortunately for us, for our people, we don't know who Amalek is. Well, Amalek, folks, is over your Christian churches. They've infiltrated the Christian churches. The Messianic faction of your Christian churches are controlled by Amalek. They infiltrated. Amalek is also your royalty, your royal families in this earth today. The royalty of America too, including, not excluding, the Bush family. Now, this is why the Roman Empire, Satanists, sought to do what? Discredit King James by claiming he was a homosexual. These were all Jesuit lies that were put into print so that our people would look at the Bible and turn away from it, associating all that vulgarity and lasciviousness with King James, a black man. Now, this is why they wanted to defame Amalek, because King James wasn't the king that was just against the Vatican and the Roman Catholic Church who authorized the translation. He didn't translate it himself. But he also put some key historians together with a table of nations so that our people today could identify all the families of the earth. And this was placed in the original King James Version. Look on your screen. This is a part of the King James Version Bible in the front of it with the table of nations identifying Esau. Identifying Esau, folks. Let's see if we can find Amalek. Let's see if we can find Amalek here. Because the Bible says, remember Amalek. Now, when you look in the middle at the top, you see Esau. Right? We see Esau. Right there. Now, when you go to if you look on the left of Esau, you'll see Amalek. You see Amalek in the middle, right? Let me move it up so you can see Amalek. See Amalek? Look to your far left and you'll see Amalek. Then it goes down from Amalek down to Amalekites, down to King Agag, who was one of the high diplomats during the time of the Persian Empire, where Agag did what? He created a census to number our people, a census to number the children of Israel, because we didn't follow the religion of Persia, this Edomite Agag wanted to number the children of Israel as a pretext of depopulating or killing us off during the time that we were under the Persian Empire, an Edomite Agag. That's why God said, remember him. Like they're trying to do the census today, they did this during the time of the Persians. And then when you go down to Agag, you see more families. More families. And on the other side of this, you see who? The Idumeans on the other side. You see the Idumeans on the other side, which led to King Herod and those who tried to kill Christ. And you see Agag on the other families. What is this, folks? When you look at the bottom, and I've done the research on all these families, and I'm glad King James was able to leave this tidbit, these clues. All of these families that you see at the bottom link directly to the European Union's kings, dukes, and queens of England. The Queen of England, the Duke of Europe, all of these names link directly to them. You have the Romans and the Greeks, the Idumeans and the Amalekites. Now, in the 2nd century after our people fell, the Romans sent the Basilians under St. Basil, an Edomite, Amalek, sent the Basilians to Khazariah. And they became the serpent people in Khazariah. There aren't Japhet, those that were in Khazar. They were sent there by the Romans, called the Basilians. And they became Khazars. Later they converted into Judaism between the 8th and the 11th century during the time of the Crusades and became Jews. You want to know who Amalek is? Revelation 2:9 tells us, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. That's why they have Satan's signet on their flag. That's why they worship Yahweh. And we told people a long time ago, do your research on Yahweh. Yahweh existed before our people came out of Egypt. Okay? Yahweh was the ancient god of the Shashu. The Shashu is another name for Edom. Later on, Yahweh became Zeus or Jovi. Jovi became the Tetragrammaton, which is Yahweh or Jehovah or Yahweh that they presented to this world while we, the children of Israel, were asleep. So not only do they hold up themselves as God's people, they exalt the God, the Canaanite God, Yahweh, as the God of all gods, when we know it's our God, Ahiah, who made all gods, and they know it. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy, which is a lie, of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Concentration camps. So the Bible is letting us know the religious factions as well as the political factions that's behind all we see with COVID-19 is deeper than a cold or a flu or someone sneezing. After we, the children of Israel, received the blessing from our father Isaac, Esau promised that one day, once the yoke is off of him, that he would begin to kill his brother Jacob. Now, is all white people behind this? Absolutely not. These are the royal families who've kept their bloodline separated from the rest of the population, knowing that there's a lot of people who have mixed. There's other families of Esau where Esau laid with an Ishmaelite girl and had children. They're not from the Canaanite family that Esau mixed with. That's a different family of Esau. And Esau go through great measures, the royalty, to make sure their family stays separated from the plebs or the normal people or what you would call the lower white race. When Princess Diana went outside of that circle, they got rid of her. Okay? So I'm going into this to show you, brothers and sisters, this battle is deeper than a physical battle. We must unite in our prayers against Amalek. Let the heavens know, let the world know we see you. We see you. Our God sees you, but you're keeping us, you're slapping us, and we're going against each other, not realizing who's the real enemy here. Using legislation, using their political games to keep us confused, separating our families, setting up family court, coming in, infiltrating our churches, on and on and on. They've been working in every facet of our lives continually, waiting for the day in which our people would begin to take back our true identity. And this is why they're pulling the plug on everything. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you right now, the Bible breaks down what's going on. We must view all of this through heaven's lenses. If you believe any of this, you'll be tossed to and fro. Believe the Bible. Come together under the Almighty. Follow his commandments. And this weekend going forward, with this Feast of First Fruits, even up until this time, starting tonight, we need to pray that the Most High send his judgment that was written in Deuteronomy against Amalek. The angels will hear us. The same way the disciples were unified together at the day of Pentecost, which is Saturday sundown. We need to be unified in prayer together. It don't matter if you don't believe everything we believe right now. But join us in this prayer against Amalek. That the Most High hand will be shown against the nemesis. Come to find out, Bill Gates links directly to Amalek. Henry Kissinger directly to Amalek. The Bush family, along with the Queen of England and all of them, they link directly to the Herodian side, the Idumean families. I've done the research, folks. This is a battle between Esau, and they understand our people are feeble, are weak. We have no help. We have no understanding of what's going on, and they're plucking us off, starting with the weak. That's what's really going on. So again, we're going to pick this up tomorrow. There's a lot we have to accomplish in a short amount of time. We're going to get our own land where we can have our holy days and not have to worry about all this other stuff that's going on, and pray together and be together. Okay? We're going to get our own land and say, well, listen, all of us are fine. Okay? All of us are fine. We're protected under our religious right to gather. And eventually we have our own land, and we'll do our holy days. We have our tents there and everything, our music there, and serve and pray to our God outside of this foolishness that they have out here. Okay? What's going on right now is a total reshuffling of the world's government. This is what we're seeing here. COVID is a skeleton key for everything because they're bringing in the mark of the beast system. And it's time, and they're doing everything to stop the righteous from coming together and praying against them. You can't tell me people can't come together and pray with their families to their God in a land that touts freedom of religion. But yet we can all go to Home Depot or Walmart and walk around these same people. It's a farce. Yes, they're getting the numbers. You know how they getting the numbers? Well, you see those on the inside who have the courage to report what's going on in the hospitals. They're going to get the numbers if you go into these hospitals. And our people, we don't know any better. The doctors are calling them privately saying, come on in, we found something. How many times the doctor been calling us, the nurses and all that, with their fake HIV garbage and say, we got your test back, please come on in. Controlling us through fear, killing us off with AZT and other drugs under that fake HIV crap. As if HIV is race specific. And you other nations know this too. You people, you know that these are bioweapons and these campaigns are used to have us drive ourselves into our own graves through the fear of HIV, cancer, and all that. And come to find out, folks, it's the treatment that leads to the depopulation. It's the fear of something they put out there that leads us to an early grave. Amalek. He preys on the weak. The same way he did when we came out of Egypt. He didn't face us head on because he know what would happen. He financed his own little armies and because why? They know not to face Israel or Judah. The warriors, Benjamin, Levi, they know not to face us head on. So what they do? And you see the guys that are behind this, with their little spreadsheets and all these little private meetings. You think that guy that talking about, well, we need to do something about the guy gene. You think he would approach someone? This is how they work, folks. It's through fear. Hebrews 2, read it when you get an opportunity. It teaches us that it's through fear. They use fear to put us in bondage. They use fear. Now, it's people's business. You can believe what you want because you have the freedom of your own opinion. But I see people hyperventilating in their cars while it's hot outside with the windows rolled up with a mask on. What are they doing? Protecting themselves from themselves? There's no one else in the car and your windows are up. It's insanity, folks. Straight insanity. Well, I digress. Now you know who is attacking us under COVID-19, and it's upon the spiritual to call on the Almighty that the invisible, that the angels work against Amalek and thwart his plans, to slow his plans against us. We pray in the name of Christ against Amalek and ask the Most High to fulfill his promise against him. We see you. Again, Deuteronomy, the 25th chapter and the 17th verse. Let me read it again and then I'll digress until we come together tomorrow. The Bible. Deuteronomy 25:17 reads, remember that Amalek, what Amalek did unto thee by the way, when ye were come forth out of Egypt, how he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee, when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not God. So they came behind our caravan coming out of Egypt and began to smite the young, the elderly, and the women who are in the back of the caravan. Cowardly. Instead of facing us head on, facing the men, they started destroying the weak of our people. And that's what's going on in these hospitals right now. They're scaring people who are alone in their homes, driving them to go to the hospital. If you sneeze during during an allergy season, it doesn't mean you're sick. But it's the fear and the inundation, being constantly inundated through the news. COVID, 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 COVID. To you fear even sneezing. And for the weak, they'll go straight to the hospital, never to be heard of again. The same thing they did to us coming out of Egypt. Because anyone with any common sense wouldn't follow this garbage. Wouldn't fall victim to this. Only our people are falling victim to this like that in numbers. That's why they're getting the numbers. But it's not through COVID. It's through sheer ignorance and preying on the weak. Remember what Amalek did unto thee by the way when ye came forth out of Egypt. How he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble behind thee. Even thou was faint and weary, and he feared not God. He's against our God. Why? Because our God has what? An eventual judgment against them. Now that we've found out we're the children of Israel, now Esau have aligned themselves to wipe the children of Israel out off the face of the earth. It has nothing to do with COVID. It has everything to do with, you got it, the vaccines. Don't believe it have anything to do with anything but getting to that vaccine and that mark of the beast, shooting everyone and all that, and brain killing the population, and putting the rest of the earth in fear to serve them. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about, folks. It's taking away all the mom and pop businesses. Any way to financially aggrandize yourself is being taken away, and all the world will be at the behest of the corporate Borg. The corporations will call the shots. And this is what was allowed. It was allowed when we had our own personal hardware shops. We had our own shops, and our people, for the sake of what you would call progress, didn't go to these shops. We began to go to Home Depot. We began to go to Walmart. Instead of supporting these local shops, we began to support progress because it was convenience. But now we're seeing the end of that convenience. We're looking at the end of the convenience. They're doing away with business altogether unless it's a corporate, lobby-backed business. Farms, all that. Here we go. We're here. This is Amalek, folks. And the Bible says, how he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee, even all that were feeble. They prey on the weak first. Like, who would even come up with an idea to shoot a baby with a toxic vaccination before it even builds up an immune system? You would give a baby a hepatitis B shot when hepatitis B was used for intravenous drug users and those who are having sex already. A child don't have sex. So what's the threat of hepatitis B for a newborn baby? Who would even think of that? Amalek. They prey on the weak first. How he met thee by the way and smote the hindmost of thee and all that were feeble behind thee when thou wast faint and weary, and he feared not the Most High. Deuteronomy 28:19. Therefore it shall be when the Lord thy God hath given thee rest from all thine enemies round about, in the land where the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it, that thou shalt blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. Thou shalt not forget it. I need you all, when you get an opportunity to read this and understand that the same God that spoke this sent his son to die on the cross for our sins. And Christ says you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. No more. Let's not walk in this cloud of confusion anymore, in darkness, not realizing what this is. Aim your prayer and your spirit, all your spiritual resources against Amalek, folks, in the name of Christ. Detach yourself from all the control businesses and all the control mechanisms they control. Dismantle yourself. Walk away from the Christian church if they're going to continue under the Christian Daba. That's the highest form of control. Amalek controls the Christian church. The Jesuits are Amalek. The apologists are Amalek. Okay? Walk away. Pray against them in the name of Christ. Pray against them. Ask in the name of Christ, says, Lord, blessed are they that bless us, and cursed are they that curse us. Because those that are behind this are unrepentant. They have chosen a side. They're unrepentant. Ask the Most High to do what he needs to do with Amalek. Pray for your families that the Most High would protect us against Amalek and his devices, the synagogue of Satan. With that, see you tomorrow. May the Most High be with you. Stay prayed up and sin not. We'll see Zion. I'm Elder Ricard, and you received the word for today. Up until tomorrow, we'll be back. If it be the Most High's will, we'll be here before you. Well, I'll be here before you. Shalom.